I'm Suze Maclaine Pont. At age 25, I was completely burned out. I was working as a naval engineer in a large company, research institution, and I really didn't know how to cope with life. I had a regular job. I was living like anybody I knew, and I just didn't know how to do it. I was tired in the morning, tired in the evening. I didn't know how to get my energy back, and I thought I was absolutely dysfunctional. But I also realized that I was trying to work the way my boss thought I should work best, and that didn't work for me. So I quit my job and I started for myself, as self-employed, my own company. And I was doing really large innovation projects. And I was actually quite good at it. I earned a lot of money. I had very large customer base. And I had 4 to 5 months at sea, and I thought I designed the perfect life. I had 4 or 5 months every year free. I worked 7 days a week, 2 or 3 months, then I had 2 months off. It was great, until I got pregnant. And when I got pregnant, I realized that these high-paying projects, I wouldn't be able to do them in 3 days a week. So I had to figure out a way to earn the same amount of money in a job that would let me work 3 days a week. So I thought, I am not free at all. I don't have time freedom. I don't have money freedom. So I'm either at home with my kid, being a lot poorer than I think I should be, or I'm working my ass off, not seeing my kid, putting it in daycare all day. And I didn't want to do either one. So for 5 years, I started figuring out what was wrong with me, what was wrong with my life, and I figured out my beliefs about life, my thoughts, my habits. I had actually very bad self-care habits. Going out to sea for 4 months a year is probably very good, but it's a lot better to really take care of yourself every single day, and I wasn't able to do that. So for 5 years, I started to really learn these things. And then I found a few systems that might be able to make me time-free, where time and money get out of each other's way. So I started to work in them, but I still didn't get the results I wanted. And then I suddenly figured out that the people that really inspire me, they were not in my life, they were outside of my life. I was reading books, I was watching online videos, I was taking online programs. I wasn't actually taking these people that inspire me to work together with me. And that's when I figured I had to reach out. So I took all my courage, I called them. And one of the people I called was Mike Watts, and he's here right now, so I'd like to introduce you to him. Okay, so this is Mike Watts.
Hi guys.
Mike is one of the people that inspired me and that I really realized I had to get into my life instead of outside. And I'd been following his wife, Kate Northrup, your wife.
My wife, yeah.
Yeah, for about 3 years. She wasn't your wife at that point.
We were dating or traveling or doing something.
And I read her book and I followed her and I actually tried to copy what she was doing.
How'd that work out?
It worked actually pretty well.
Nice.
A lot of people thought, hey, what you're doing, I want to be part of. But I thought I really want to get into the details of what she's doing and I want to understand and I want to work together with her. So I called her and she said, yeah, sure, I'd love to work with you. So that was one of the things a lot of people tell me, you called Kate Northrup? I said, yeah, well, I have one thought right in place and one belief, and that is that everybody's a human being and that there's no reason why they wouldn't talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
So the calling was the easy part, and then the working together is a different story.
That's pretty easy and fun.
It is. Yeah, it's very easy.
We're easy and fun.
And the nice thing is that Kate introduced me to Mike because she was very pregnant. So she said, you'll have to take it on with Mike for a certain time. And actually that's so much fun. I'm having so much fun with you.
Great.
And I now am learning a lot about your life and about your story and about the things that you've come across in your life. And I know that you have a different, but to a certain extent, a similar story than I have. So I think it's very nice to learn a little bit about what you did to overcome your challenges.
Great. And are we talking like just any type of challenges?
Well,
just want to know which direction I should go.
Which major things made you become more free?
Got it. Okay, great. So yeah, my background is very similar to what you explained a little bit earlier in your video, I went to school for engineering, ended up with a double major, engineering and organizational leadership and supervision from Purdue University in Indiana. And I started working at Philip Morris inside of a manufacturing plant for 3.5 years. And I was in charge of 70 people, and what we ended up doing was producing cigarettes on the manufacturing line, and then it went out to all the customers all over the world. And I just knew why I was there. I watched a lot of my folks on my team that I was working with who had no life. So they were making $100,000 US dollars a year, and they had a lot of money, but then they didn't have the time freedom to be able to do that. And also, as I was growing up, I just started realizing we had doctors that lived next door to us, or foot doctors or dentists or whoever lived around us. They were fishing a couple times a week. And I knew what the life that I was living at that moment, I had to change something a little bit with, because I wanted to create more time freedom. I wanted to be able to create money freedom. I wanted, financial freedom a lot of people talk about. And time freedom was my biggest thing, though, is because when I ended up having a wife and having a child, or children in that matter, when that time came, I wanted to be able to stay at home with them versus having to leave them all the time. Because one of the hardest things I thought or I heard over and over and over and over again was all of these individuals who weren't able to stay at home with their kids because they had to go to work on a daily job. And I know that hurts people so much. But to overcome all of that, to change my mindset around all of that, so just a little bit of my background of what the challenge is, and that was in 2009 when I was laid off from Philip Morris. And since 2009 and now it's 2015, I've achieved all that, so which is pretty cool. But to do that, a lot of the challenges I had to let go of. I just had to let go of a lot of things, my old habits, my old pasts. You mentioned this a little bit earlier. It was just a lot of changing my life at that moment, and surrounding myself with like-minded people was a big thing for me. Is like finding out who I was inspired by, and then learning from what they ended up doing, and then realize that I had to let go of a lot of things that I was holding on to, emotionally, physically, just in my life, certain circumstances. So for instance, a couple examples would be just I had to change my mindset around things, from working a 9 to 5 to being a business owner was big. So just changing those. Also, I stopped drinking, I stopped smoking cigarettes, I stopped doing a bunch of drugs, because it was just those activities in my life weren't making me any money or getting me to a next level that I wanted to go. I had to heal a lot of relationships I had to heal the relationships with inside myself around especially family dynamics. Doesn't mean I actually really talk to them about a lot of things, but I had to heal those with inside myself, because what I realized is that a lot of us will hold in things that happen in our childhood, or things that happen with our parents, and then we're trying to live up to what those expectations are from individuals in our life who don't really care, for the most part, about what it is that we care about. So I started to love the people in my life for who they really were. And I'd say that's probably the biggest challenge I had to overcome, really, was just about healing the relationships within myself with the outsiders around it. It's not like I have to go talk to them about it, but it's just helping that with me. And I think that's the biggest thing that's allowed me. Actually, I'll take that back. I'd say the biggest thing, so that's the second one, the biggest challenge I had to really overcome was to start valuing myself, who I was, and the skills that I had. Because I was following a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, and they were making multi-million dollars a year. I was not doing that at the time. And so it was just, I was intimidated a little bit by it. And so I wanted to live up to, and so I started to live, like you said earlier, it was like, started to live your life, copying Kate and stuff like that. And then I realized that I did that a couple times. Like I went through.
You copied Kate?
No, not Kate. That's funny. But no, I followed this mentor, and he had a 7-video opt-in series on his business, and I went and copied the exact formulas of everything he was doing, and I put it in my own words and used my own flavor, and then I watched it, I'm like, this is not me. So it was
I recognize that.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
So it was like finding my own voice and really trusting myself.
Yeah.
That was a very long-winded answer to your question.
What helped you do that? Did you do that all by yourself?
To discover myself?
Yeah.
It's really I read a lot of books, a lot of biographies. One of my favorites was the Steve Jobs biography, just his, how he overcame everything. And then I read a lot of books. I watched a lot of videos, just motivational stuff. I stopped watching sports for the time being for myself. even to this day, like I lost interest really in watching a bunch of sports because it wasn't helping me grow myself. It's it's almost living my life through these athletes on TV versus living who I truly was. And I find that a lot of times, people get all pumped up about certain sport teams, and it's just like they like live through someone else versus living through themselves. And that was like the biggest thing. And so it was just like the people in the environment who I was with.
Okay, thank you, man. That's great to hear. Because a lot of times we think that the people that inspire us so much, it's easy for them.
Right.
We often think, well, if I had what they have,
correct,
then I could also do
correct.
Whatever. I know a lot of people think that about me, especially in the days I went sailing 4 or 5 months a year and I made 3 times as much money as my friends.
Yeah.
And they said, well, that's easy for you to do.
Right.
It wasn't easy at all, and it wasn't
right.
easy to change at all.
Right. Yeah, it's totally true. I mean, Darren Hardy, he's the founder of Success Magazine, or publisher of Success Magazine. He wrote a book, we heard him speak yesterday, called The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. And he talks about this concept of 90% of people in the world are employees, and they work for somebody else. And there's nothing wrong with being an employee if you're super happy at your job and you're satisfied with your life. Like, it's a great place to be. But there's the herd mentality. And he was giving this description of crabs being trapped in a cage. But the reality is, in our world, is we see this, so we can take a picture of us like being on the beach. We're in Salt Lake City right now, so there's no beach here. But it's like we're on the beach, then someone will create jealousy around it and that reaction, and then they'll make some snarky comment or something like that, and they'll try to bring us back down to their level. And I just realized that my level where I wanted to be was up here, and everybody else's level was down here. And so it's just, you're exactly right. Like you said, being 5 months at sea, people are like, oh, jealous or something around those circumstances. Which it's going to happen. I think if we're doing anything valuable in the world, I mean, we put ourselves out there just like this video in a public format. We open ourselves up with criticism. We open ourselves up with being rejected. We open ourselves up to a lot of negative feedback that comes in. So it's just to set yourself up. It's just handling that in a much different manner.
Yeah, and it's also got a lot to do with putting habits in the right place.
Completely.
I found I get up at 5 in the morning. And when I tell that to people, they say, you get up at 5, I'm never going to do that.
Yeah.
But I know I'm from Monday through Friday, I'm alone at home with my kids.
Yeah.
So if I want to take care of myself, I'd better get up at 5.
Right.
Otherwise, I don't have a chance of breathing, functioning normally, thinking about myself, because then the day starts rushing.
Right. Exactly. And that's amazing. Congratulations. Yeah. Like to have that discipline, because a lot of people will talk about they're not able to figure that out, but it just creates the discipline, and you're definitely creating that.
And it does require me to skip all the parties in the evening.
Yeah.
But I'd rather function normally.
Right.
Than,
totally.
than party all day.
That's right. Exactly.
Okay, so freedom has got a lot to do of somehow of making certain decisions that sound unfree to a lot of people.
Correct. Yeah. You said that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a tweetable. Tweet that out.
I will.
Yes.
Yeah, and through the borders you surround yourself in, and the limits and the habits, you create total freedom inside yourself of making your own choices, deciding exactly what you want to do and why you want to do it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that. Do you want me to respond?
Yeah, I won't.
There's nothing to respond to. I mean, what you just said is amazing. You're like looking at me for a reaction. I mean, it's really, really good. I think from a freedom standpoint, it's so true. It's like to be able to really just kind of do what we want. Wake up in the morning, do what we want, be able to make the decisions we want. And freedom means something different to every person. It's just like wealth means something different. Like I say wealth, you might be thinking of money, you might be thinking of cars. Like there's going to be a lot of different things that come to mind just for the word wealth. Yeah, so it's just the freedom, and I've really started looking at how does freedom tie into success. That was a very interesting concept, where it's like, what does success really look like to me? What does it? Being able to wake up every morning and go hang out with my wife. It's like I usually wake up a couple hours before her, but I get my routine and I'm able to get my free time. But then if like it's the middle of the afternoon, she's like, hey, you want to go get lunch? I'm just like, let's do it. Being able to, we have a child coming in September. That's due in September, and to be at home with that kid for forever, like, I mean, I was going to say for the first 6 weeks for sure, but really forever if I choose to do so, because I work out of the house right now. So that's a big success mantra for me. But then also being able to travel to places we want to venture to, and just to really, and what I feel like it just feels easy. Like ease is a big thing where life, like when I think of success, like I don't believe success has to be hard.
And it's choosing.
Yes.
You brought a thought to me. One day I was flying all over the world giving leadership trainings in Singapore and Helsinki, I don't know where. And I had to catch a plane, and I brought my daughter to school. And she was standing on the bridge that goes to the front door of the school, and she was crying because she said, "I want you to stay here and wave." And I couldn't wave because I had to catch a plane.
Oh, wow.
And that made me shift my definition of success.
Yeah.
I thought, this is not successful what I'm doing. Those 10-day blocks of training with the board of directors of I don't know what company, it's very nice, but I want to be here. I don't want to disappoint my daughter, who really needs me to stand there and wave at her. It's only 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Like not even 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Like that takes that's what, like 5 seconds.
And that made me feel success is in here. And it has nothing to do with having an impact on I don't know what. It has to do with having an impact on my own life.
Yeah.
Creating a dent in the universe, well, that's very nice. I want to create a dent in my own life first.
That's good. That's really powerful. I love that.
And then you see that a lot of people think, hey, I want to copy that. So then there's another level.
Right.
There's always another level.
Yeah. That's amazing. What's your definition of success? Like when you think of yourself being, what's that look like?
My definition of success is to be able to really choose what my heart tells me to choose. To not feel confined to make any decisions because I wouldn't feel accepted by other people, or I wouldn't have the money to do it, or I wouldn't know what it takes, or I couldn't find the courage. Just to follow my heart without hesitation.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So this is how we think about freedom. And we have a system that we set up and a way of working and a certain way that provides us to be able to do this.
Yeah.
So in the next video, we'll talk all about that, and we'll tell you exactly what it is that we actually do in order to be able to live the way that we want to live.
Great.
Yeah. So keep on hanging.
Say that same thing you just said, but say it to the camera, not me.
Okay.
We're talking to the audience. Right?
Okay, so now you know a little bit about our definitions of freedom and how we do it. And
Stop, the camera's gonna die.
So now if you learned a little bit about what we think freedom could look like and can look like, and how we go along thinking about it, but you still haven't heard anything about how we actually do it and what it is we do. So we're going to shoot another video, and you can watch that if you like, about the exact system that we use to create the life around the way we want to live. Because it might sound hard to create freedom, but it's actually very easy once you really want it bad enough.
So,
and you're
go
very
watch the
willing.
video.
Yeah, go watch the video. Yeah.
Yeah. That's if you want freedom. If not, thanks for watching.
Yeah.
See you in the next video.
Thank you very much. Bye.